Good morning guys, I'm just making us a coffee and we're going to do kind of a Q&A style video today, and we've got a few things to do, so we thought we'd take you along and answer some of your questions. Just for context, if you don't know, back in 2020 we left North Wales and moved to central Portugal, and we've bought a small plot of land with a house on it here that we need to renovate. So we've had questions about life in Portugal, when we're going to start the main renovations on that stone house, about living off grid, a few more juicy personal questions that we'll get to. There's never enough room on this sofa for everyone. So the first few questions we'll answer are specifically about Portugal. So the first one is why Portugal, and specifically this region of Portugal. We're in the central region, just over the border from Spain.
Honest answer?
Yeah, always.
It's because it was cheap.
Yeah. It was just like in the middle of the pandemic, we were stuck in our rented house. We were struggling to get on the housing market. Another lockdown was about to happen, and we just ended up looking on the internet and finding that the land was really cheap here, and that's what originally drew us here, to be honest. It's an amazing place. So
yeah, couldn't have chosen any better, really. Summers are a bit hot, but
just a little bit hot.
That helps the grapes.
The next question is, what are the best and worst parts of living in Portugal?
So I reckon I could say the same answer for both. So the best thing about Portugal is the weather, and the worst thing about Portugal is also the weather.
Do you want to elaborate or just leave it at that?
I think I should leave it at that. Okay. So basically the summertime is pretty brutal. Like 3 months, no rain, above 35 degrees, nighttime temperatures of 32, 33. You just can't escape it, can you?
Nope.
And then, obviously, in January when it's 18 degrees outside and you can work in the sun in a t-shirt, it's pretty dreamy.
Yeah, 300 days of sunshine here, so we absolutely love it. We love being outside. I would say for me, the best things are probably the people. They've been extremely welcoming and kind, and I really love the culture here, and the ability to grow so much of our own food because of the climate. Grumpy dodo. Worst thing, I would agree, is the summer heat. It's quite debilitating. Like, you can't get much done.
And the flies in the summer too.
And the flies that the summer brings. They, especially here in the countryside, there just are so many of them, and it's really hard to keep them out of the house. Other than that, I can't really think of anything bad.
No.
Good old Portugal. Okay, and then the third question is, if you could go back in time, would you have made the same choice during the pandemic to move to Portugal?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a tough 3 years, definitely, but where we are now is incredible. We're really happy here. So yeah, absolutely no regrets. So glad we made that decision, and it was definitely the pandemic that kind of pushed us to make that decision. So
yeah, pandemic and Brexit.
Yeah, we didn't really think about it too much. We just had this idea, then we suddenly thought, oh, it's 3 months till Brexit. If we want to actually get an opportunity to get some residency here, we better go quick.
Diogo.
So yeah.
Leave the sausage dog alone.
And we found Diogo here, so we can't regret that he came into our lives.
I think if Frankie could speak, she might give a different answer.
Those are the main questions about Portugal, so I think I'll move on to some garden questions, which is a big passion of mine. I thought I would just come down to my lovely greenhouse to talk to you about the garden. I've got a few things growing in here, but the winter is definitely not the best time for gardening. But I've got some peas and some sweet peas and some beetroots all sown and ready to go. So the questions about the garden were, firstly, will I be making monthly videos about the garden again? So I did this at the beginning of last year, from January through to about April. Had quite a lot of questions regarding them, so obviously people were enjoying them, and I would like to bring them back, but what I'm planning to do is the first or second video of each month will be a lot more garden focused. It's my big goal is the garden. So that's what we'll be doing this year. So the second question is, what will I be planting next? So as I've said, there's a few things I've sown, and I can see on the website what I've been planting. And I've also got a few plants in here that need to grow out. I've got a beautiful camellia that I got from my grandparents for my birthday that I want to put in the garden in front of the house because I want to fill that one with flowers. And I've got a passion flower that also needs to go out, the passion fruits. Another question we had was regarding the irrigation channels and potentially adding drip irrigation to the garden. Let's go down there actually. Be careful. So this is where I'm planning the main vegetable garden to be, and so surrounding this part of the field there are some irrigation channels dug all the way around it. They must be really old because they are lined with stone in some places, and that has really prevented any flooding happening here, whereas the field adjacent doesn't have these dug out and that always floods. So we definitely want to continue working on them and clearing them. They do tend to grow back each time after we've dug them, which is a little bit frustrating. We do also want to make sure we're trying to hold as much water as possible on the land, so we are thinking we might dig a pond in the other field that gets a lot of the flooding, so that the water's not just running off the land but is maybe actually flowing to there. And then yes, I have been trying to work out the best way to water the garden because it's the biggest job throughout the summer. I came to the conclusion that I'm going to experiment with drip irrigation first. That's what I see most people using. That's going to be a big spring project for us, I think. The final question about the garden was, do we get slugs and snails? We do get a few, but they're kind of a rarity to see, to be honest. We had an allotment back in Wales and that was our biggest challenge, was fighting off the slugs and snails, and they would just destroy everything, whereas here they're so rare they just don't do much damage. We get a lot of the white cabbage butterfly caterpillars. They eat all my cabbages. I don't mind because it means we get lots of butterflies and I love seeing them. They're our biggest pest. Yeah, really lucky. It makes gardening a lot more enjoyable when all your work isn't just destroyed by slugs and snails. So, questions for you, Mr. Winemaker. Where will we store and make wine once we start working on restoring this building?
So, we will, well, somewhere else. We will have to come up with something because it needs to be semi-temperature controlled as well. It can't just be outside in the summer because it'll just be too hot and too wet in the winter. So I think we will have to build an agricultural support building, stroke winery, stroke wine cellar, ideally before September's grape harvest. So at least we've got a time constraint. So yeah, that's the plan.
Second question is, will you drink some wine during this Q&A?
We will, but not now, because it's only just lunchtime. If the weather was nicer, then maybe we'd drink some now, but it's a bit grim today, so we won't. We'll save some later when the juicier questions come out.
How is the wine doing?
Yeah, it smells good. I've not tasted these ones. We tasted them a couple of months ago, I think, didn't we? The one that was in the steel tank behind me here, well, we put into the bag-in-box. That tastes nice. It's keeping really well in the bag-in-box. So that's good. Yeah, I have to work out what to do with this. March is when we're supposed to think of doing stuff.
Maybe bottle it.
Yeah, maybe. Depends how tannic it is from the wood. But we'll see. But yeah, it smells so far so good.
And then the third question is, can you give a grape pruning tutorial?
I can show you how I do it. The vines we have here are trained. They're grown as bush vines. So they're not grown along a trellis in any particular fashion. So it's one of those horses for courses things. So here each vine is basically pruned differently. But yes, I'll go and show you. Let's go. Oh, my knees. Okay, so take your vine, and as you can see, they're a bit chaotic because of the way that they grow. But there's not much we can do about it now other than just keep it going as it should be. So the two tools that you will need are a garden saw, so quite a fine saw, and a pair of clippers. And the idea is basically get rid of brambles and stuff, is to take back last year's growth to, people will tell you different things, but around here what they do is 3 or 4 buds and 3 new growing sites per area. And as you can see, because these have been left, you've got spurs growing all over the place. So some drastic decisions do need to be made quite every now and again. Get rid of stuff that's coming out of the bottom for a start. And then what you want to have in your mind is an idea of how you want the shape of the vine to be. A good way to start is to find stuff that doesn't look very alive. There's some buds on that, so I might leave that, because in the future it might be good to get rid of all of this. Chaos vine, isn't it, Diogo? This is the thing, is they do just decide to grow from wherever they want, so definitely get rid of anything that you know you're not going to need. What I do to try and tell myself, or later in the year, that things haven't worked is leave the grapes that have gone mildewy or something, so that I know that it's gone wrong. And I think the issue with this is we've got far too many growing sites. Okay, so I have decided that because this spur here is going into the bank and in towards these quince trees, that it is probably pretty badly placed, and because there is a nice growing site on the top of it. Cats and grapevines are just...
She loves them, doesn't she?
Yeah. You think we should get rid of that one? I'm not sure, Albs, to be honest. What's Cat doing, Dodo? So I think I'm going to leave this one.
Mm-hmm.
So what we will do, with Albi supervising, is we count the buds. So maybe don't count that bottom one, but there's 1, 2, 3. So this year I'm going to try 3. Albi, be very careful of those whiskers, mate. There you go. And then we will do the same on this one. So 1, 2, Albi, ow! 3. Drop that one. Try not to cut the cat. Okay, so I think we're pretty happy with the 2 spurs coming this way. So we will cut 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll take that one to 2, I think. And then I'll just cut this one off. There we go. So we will have spurs or new growth coming out of here, out of here, out of here, and out of here. Won't we, Albi? It's quite fun.
I just feel like she's going to get her whiskers chopped off.
So this is the one we decided we were going to use. So we're going to take this one off. I think we'll take this off too. Can get the automated ones of these. They're absolutely magic. May invest in some of those this year. Because this vine is actually leaning this way quite a lot towards the camera here, and it's growing upwards and all over the place, something to bear in mind is that you can grow the vine from this. So eventually in like 3 years, 4 years, we can actually cut this whole thing off and continue growing the vine from this. So it's always worth keeping like 1 or 2 shoots to come off this main section. So maybe just keep 1 or 2 buds on each spur. Then we'll cut all the others off. So we'll also get some growth coming out of this. And what we'll probably do is early on in the growing season, maybe like before the fruit sets, we'll just come and trim it off so that it won't produce any fruit, won't take anything off the rest of it. Yeah, I thought that was dead, so we'll chop this off with the saw. Sometimes they're a bit wobbly, so if you brace your knee against it, it works quite well. Ideally, we would have angled that because it's up facing with the rain. It's not ideal, but There you go. Then we'll take this big one off. As you can see, there was quite a lot of fruit on it last year, but because they're all so spaced together and the foliage was so dense that it just got mildewy and not very nice. So hopefully this will fix that. There's an olive in there. So the last spur we have is this one. So again, we'll go 1, 2, 3 buds, and then 1, 2, 3 buds. So 1, 2, 3. Job done. The plan is to do the vines at the end of January, really. End of January, beginning of February, but before the buds start to swell. So yeah, there'll be some more grapevining coming up in a few weeks. Grapevining. There'll be some more grape pruning coming up in a few weeks' time.
So we thought it would be fun to come and sit with the chickens and answer some questions we had about life off-grid. So one of the first questions was, did we specifically choose that we wanted to be off-grid, or is that just part of life of living on this property?
Yeah, we didn't choose to be off-grid.
No.
Well, that wasn't the plan.
We weren't like seeking to be off-gridders, we just wanted to live really rurally and remotely. It's just been a part of something we've had to figure out. It's been a very big learning curve, and I think we both quite enjoy the challenge of figuring everything out.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a more complicated way of life, and you have to be a lot more thoughtful about everything.
I think living in the van for that 6 months probably helped, because it's much smaller space.
And you're basically living off-grid in the van.
Yeah.
In a way, you have to think about your electricity, your water, your toilet, your shower, all the things that are already taken care of in a modern house. I have a whole new appreciation for modern housing.
Hot water, running hot water.
Running water, and all the systems it takes to build that. But yeah, electricity is just one that you really have to, I think that's the most difficult one. And we live in modern times and we work online, so keeping our phones and laptops and Wi-Fi on has been important for that. But I guess if you weren't working online, that would be less stressful to manage.
Yeah, all depends how hardcore you are, really.
Another question from our friends at Camp Out West, who'll be really happy we're in with the chickens because they love their chickens. The 3 best things that we've bought for off-grid life that's made life easier.
Good question.
I think one of the first ones was our shower setup.
Yes,
because
100%.
We started with boiling water in a bucket, and then we had a USB pump. So you boil a bucket full of water, and then it's like a USB powered water pump with a shower.
Wasn't good in the winter.
No. So now it's like a portable water heater shower, and
gas powered.
Yeah, and that's much better. And just having hot running water for a shower unlimited is so nice, especially for me. Washing my hair takes a long time, so
me not so much.
Washing your beard takes a long time. Secondly, for us, like we were saying with the electricity, I think getting one of the Bluetti power banks with a solar panel was a big step up, because our first purchase for electricity was a generator, which we do still use when it's really cloudy, but it's really slow to charge things.
Still a pretty vital piece of kit, though.
Yeah, you do need one.
If it wasn't in the top 3, it would be in the top 5.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
We spread this out.
Yeah. The third one for off-grid, probably the water pump.
Yeah.
To come out of the well.
I was going to say the camping toaster.
That is true. Yeah.
Marmite on toast.
Because we don't have much electricity, so we do have, say, like an electric kettle, but we only use that in the summer when we have an excess of electricity, and we don't in the winter, and a kettle and a toaster are the ones that use the most electricity, anything heating. So we found this little, I'll put some footage of it, a little camping toaster that you can put on top of a gas hob, and it makes toast, and we love toast.
They're hardy little things. They're like €10. I don't know, 3 years.
Yep. Then we had quite a few questions about our solar setup. So, do we have enough? We've been very lucky to be able to work with Bluetti throughout the last year. So thank you guys for watching our videos and helping us to build a channel that we were able to work with sponsorships. And they've sent us an amazing house battery setup basically, and that's more than enough for our current setup.
For now.
All we need is some more solar panels for the winter. The other question was about a wind turbine.
Yeah, I don't know whether it would be worth it for us here. I've been chatting to some friends this morning, and it's windy everywhere else. Like, they've had greenhouse panels blown out, and we've barely had a breath.
Yeah, we're in like a bit of a dip, and we seem very protected from the wind here. But if there was like a cheap turbine that we could easily plug into our setup, we'd definitely be up for trying it. I think it would be quite cool. But yeah, for us, we don't really get the wind here. What happens to our grey water from the kitchen?
Good question, and very on point at the moment. Up until we got the water filter tap from Water Drop that goes into the kitchen, we just had a bucket underneath the sink, and we used to change that every day. Then we had the pipe that went outside into a bucket that we changed every day.
Just put it in the vegetable garden, didn't we?
Different tree every day. The last week or so, we've been putting in a grey water system
kind of
thing.
In a very basic way. It will be the next video is going to be all about our grey water. What factors to consider when looking for an off-grid property?
Easy answer. Number 1, water.
Yeah.
Number 2, access. Because if you can't get deliveries, then you're going to struggle.
If you're building something, then yeah.
Or unless you've got a big vehicle that you can take your own sand, whatever in.
But the next questions are more about water, so let's go over to the well.
Good plan.
This is one of 3 of our wells, this being the main one as it's closest to the house, and we've been working on capping it.
Mm-hmm.
And one question that we have had quite a lot is why are we capping the well?
It is a good question. Mostly because we need to try and keep the water clean. If the sun can get to the top of the water, then algae will grow, and pondweed, duckweed I think it's called, stuff like that. Things will fall in it, like there's an olive tree here, there's an olive tree here, leaves, grass, animals,
Grapes.
You name it.
We would like it to be drinking water, so this one we're capping for A, safety because it's really close to the house, and B, so that it's the cleanest that it can be. But you've had to rescue a dog from that one, Albi from this one. So yeah,
definitely wise to cap them. They are dangerous things, aren't they, Diogo?
Have we tested the water for drinking? Yes, we have. We did a test a few months ago, and we have had the results back, and we don't fully understand them. So once we get to the end where we can actually drink the water, we'll make a full video about the whole process that will hopefully be useful for other people. Then the next question, which is very watery related too, is what do we do about showering when it's cold? And I do actually need to wash my hair, so maybe I will show you kind of like the setup that we do for it. Basically, you're just kind of uncomfortable. I've been putting off washing my hair. I should have done it yesterday, but the sun is coming out now, so
yeah, you have to time it with the sun.
Yeah, I'll do that now, and I'll show you the shower setup, how it gets from the well to our heater. So firstly, we have a balloon water pump under here with a pipe coming from the well into it, and then there's an electric cord that goes into the power bank in the house to power it, and then there's 2 filters in there, and then it comes to this tap which we need to attach the hose to. This hose is attached and we turn the tap on. This hose pipe now runs all the way behind the cabin to the bathroom, if you can call it a bathroom. This outdoor little cabin is where the shower is. But before I turn on the shower, I want to make the cabin nice and warm for when I get out. And Iwan's also got a fire going in the kitchen because you're very cold when you come out of the shower. So in our cabin, we have a gas heater, which is actually really quite effective. So I put this on full to get this room really warm, so I can run in here after I've washed my hair. So yeah, I think with the answer to the question of how do we shower when it's cold, it's in discomfort, to be honest. We have joined a local gym, half for the showers, but frustratingly they have a 5-minute timer on them, so it's not long enough for me to wash my hair. But I think one of the things we've really learnt the last few years is how to kind of deal with discomfort, because you do spend a lot of time being uncomfortable, especially in terms of being hot or cold here. And I think it's made us a lot more resilient. And yeah, we've learned a lot of how easily you can adapt to certain things. And yeah, I think we both quite like the challenge of things. It's very worthwhile. And then once you set in the things that do make your life easier, you feel a lot more grateful for them because you know how your life has been without those things. Showering in the winter is not much fun though. That's for sure. But it's only, it's probably just the run from the bathroom to the cabin that's the most uncomfortable. And that's only a few seconds of discomfort and kind of makes you feel alive. I thought whilst I was here I'd answer another question. Oh, and also, we do get one question. So Nick, our friend from Project Portugal, who we call Uncle Nick, they feel like family to us, but he calls us the Foggies, and people often ask why. So Frankie Off-Grid is Fog. You may have seen Iwan is wearing a hoodie today that says Fog on it, and that's where Foggies came from. And then we kind of joked that he called us the Foggies because we haven't the foggiest idea what we're doing. Thank goodness we have Nick, because yeah, he's helped us so much with learning what we need to do here. So yeah, and we were in a very silly mood one day, so we made some new merch. So we've got these t-shirts and jumpers with Haven't the Foggiest on, and then the grey hoodie that just says Fog, because I just think it's kind of funny that it looks like you're Fog in a grey hoodie. Yeah, we may have had a few glasses of wine when we made those decisions, but I'll link them in the description below if you do want to check out some of our merch. The other questions about the bathroom were what's our toilet setup, and I always get a little bit embarrassed talking about toilet stuff, but I should grow up really and talk about it more. It's the first thing you kind of have to resolve when you arrive here. We initially had a camping toilet that you'd get in like a camper van that you put that horrible liquid stuff in, and then there's a place in Castelo Branco where we can empty that, where vans can empty their grey and black water. And then I got a book. Let me see if it's here. This book is called The Humanure Handbook, and I learnt about compost toilets, and because at first I was a little bit apprehensive to have one, because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and after reading this book I've actually really come round to it as a better solution. Ours is a dry compost toilet, so we just add sawdust and then it composts down, and actually that then gets turned into a useful resource. So we just have a very simple structure that we built out of wood with a toilet seat on and a bucket underneath, and we empty it every day into a larger compost pile that's surrounded by pallets to keep the animals out. It's actually worked really well, and we've dug up the compost from the very first batch that we had, and it's beautiful soil basically, and we put that around the trees. So we're not comfortable enough putting it on any food that we're growing for eating. I know people say that you can, but I just don't trust that I'm that good at composting to feel safe doing that. So we put it on our trees. It's an annoyance in the day, it's a daily task and something you have to keep on top of, but it works really well and it's super simple. So yeah, that's our toilet setup. Yeah, I think Iwan would like to have a septic tank because he's the one that empties the toilet every day, so that is absolutely fair enough, and I can see why that as a system was built by humans because it works beautifully. And the third question was about future plans for the bathroom. So we'll get on to the plans for the main building, and there will be a bathroom built in with that, hopefully, if our plans get approved. We have the bathroom I've just shown you, which is very basic and quite uncomfortable, especially in the winter. So I think it's going to be a while before we get the final bathroom, and next winter we'd like to improve the current one. So I think we will build an intermediary bathroom in a similar style to how we've built this cabin, which is just put on a few breeze blocks and then pallets, so it's up off the floor, because it was also in that bathroom that under a bucket that I was using to wash was one of the giant centipedes that bit me on the foot. So I'm a little cautious whenever I'm in there as well. So yeah, I think we'll redo the bathroom in another temporary but better state. Right, I will go and find Yuan and we'll answer some more questions about the barn building, which is one of the ones we got the most questions about. When are we going to start it? What are we doing? So let's go do that. Really safe in sandals. So the next question is, are we still planning to buy this piece of land behind the house? It finishes here, runs all the way behind our house past the well, and then goes further down. How big is it?
1,700 metres squared.
They want €10,000 for it last time we spoke to them, which is too expensive for us and is what we paid for our first piece of land, which had a house on it and double the size, with two wells. We would happily pay up to 4,000.
Yeah, 5 at a push.
But prices of land are going up more and more around here, but there's nothing on this piece of land that you could live on or anything like that. So we're waiting to hear if they'll be open to
negotiating.
This is where our mimosa tree fell down and took the wall with it. And seeing as we're contemplating buying it, it didn't make much sense to rebuild it yet.
Yeah, it'd be a good place for steps to go.
So by far one of our most asked questions is, what are we doing with this building and when are we starting on it?
It's a very good question. We're not entirely sure ourselves.
Yes. Our original plan was replace the roof, do the floor like we did in the kitchen, point up the walls, render the walls, move in. It's our bedroom. It's a small space, but we just wanted to do what was simplest, easiest, cheapest, and that we could do as quickly as possible. The wise guru Nick, who has been trying to convince us to put in a second floor. And we were like, no, we just want to do what's easiest. But I think his wisdom is starting to make sense to us.
Yeah, I think the trickiest part with it is actually making the right decision. Like, you don't want to be putting a new roof on as it is and then deciding a year later that you want to put an A-frame pitched roof on it, etc., etc. Lots to work out. We've got an architect on board.
So yeah, the next step that we're currently in the midst of is we're speaking with an architect and we're speaking with the Camera, which is like the city hall, to find out what they will allow us to do on this building, whether we can extend the footprint, whether they're happy for us to go up a second floor, how much it will cost, and trying to work out what to do next. So it's kind of more exciting, but it's a lot slower.
Yeah, but I think it's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Rather than rushing ahead.
We've got lots to be getting on
Yeah.
with. So one of the elements is we need to empty the barn, which is our current winemaking space. So I think down by where we store our wood by the car is where we're half thinking we would build the shed for making wine. So that would be a job that we'd hopefully start this year. We're trying to be more
wise
sensible.
rather than
Yeah.
impulsive.
And also when we first decided to move here, we just thought we'd buy a piece of land and build a wooden cabin on and it would be super simple, and then we ended up buying a stone house with no experience of doing a project like this. And I think the most difficult thing is like project planning and
making
all
the
that
decisions.
So,
Yeah, we might even get the architect to draw it up for us.
Yeah.
And it's quite expensive, but I think it'd give us quite a lot of direction and the jobs list in order, which we haven't really got any experience of.
The other questions around it were about the history of the building, whether it's a farm building or a house, the legality of us living here, and whether there is an urban article on deeds. So historically, we've been told that it was a two-storey building. We'll show you inside. You can see where it looks like the beams for the second floor was, even though on the deeds it just says the ground floor. Our neighbour told us that it was a two-storey house. We were super lucky that it did come with an urban article already. There's a rule about pre-1952. These buildings that are registered as being built before that date are habitation licence exempt. Which means you don't have to tick as many boxes to make it a habitable home. But with us potentially expanding it, we would then be open to having to go through that criteria as well.
It's all very complicated.
Yes, it is. But currently, we are legally allowed to live here. It was one of the things I got really anxious about when we first moved here, so we checked all that with an architect in the town hall. We do have friends who have bought a barn that is just on rustic land and doesn't have an urban article, and they've been able to quite easily and not too expensively change the building to urban. So one question and comment, someone said they have 4 acres in Nevada and don't know where to start. How do you decide where to put things?
Yeah, we know that one.
I think it's trial and error is how we've kind of figured things out. You kind of have to experiment and
One
see.
that I quite like as a philosophy is to try and reverse engineer the process. So imagine it in place, like stand where you think it would be and how you would use it and interact with it, and then go from there back to the beginning of the job.
I think it's kind of one of the most difficult things we've found is like planning the project on a bigger scale.
Try not to hate it too much if you've done it already.
It's quite enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
I've said before to you, like I used to play a lot of computer games as like a kid and a teen. It's like The Sims or Age of Empires and Settlers, where you kind of like given a world to create, and that's sometimes what it feels like here, and it's really exciting. It's just sometimes a bit frustrating when you put something in the wrong place and then have to undo it all. But yeah, just enjoy the process. I think.
Don't put too much importance on stuff.
No, things can be changed, and the longer you wait, like we've been here for 3 years now, I think actually slowing down and not making rash decisions is more helpful, because you get to experience the land or the space a lot more.
Yeah, make the decision in your head, and then you've got time to argue with yourself, and then be like, no, that's the wrong decision, and then change your mind. Minds are there to be changed. Don't worry about changing your mind.
What is the next big project?
The driveway needs to be finished. The driveway, the well. We need to do some fencing to stop this little fella from chasing foxes.
And then it would be building the shed.
Yeah.
We'd quite like to improve the bathroom.
We will be improving the bathroom. Washing machine in there.
My dream for 2024 is to have a washing machine.
Washing machine and aircon.
Yes, aircon.
Yeah.
We're hoping before this summer, just in the kitchen, just one room we can escape to that has air conditioning. Like there never is just one next big project. It's like you're working on everything at the same time, which can sometimes be quite difficult.
Yeah,
but
always
it's
something.
the reality of it, or how we work in chaos.
Fun.
Cool. Do you want to go walkies? Walkies?
Shall we?
So it'd be nice to answer some questions on our dog walk.
How much time do you spend with other YouTubers? I mean, I don't know whether you want an accurate answer. Probably about an hour a week.
12.5 hours per month. No. We tend to see Nick and Andrea, who are on Project Portugal.
Yeah, we see them a couple of times a month at least.
Almost once a week, really.
Yeah.
They're pretty much our fam, aren't they? And then we see Ken and Gina once a month or so. Luke and Sarah the same. And then once in a while, like Cindy Vine might throw a little party.
Yeah. How involved with life here are we? Crafts, sports, etc. Integration into the community. How are our interactions with Portuguese people and language learning?
Well, we just stopped and talked to our neighbours on the way here.
We did. Good 5-minute chat.
So with life here, I think we are quite well integrated.
Yes,
you
I would say so.
Play football on a Sunday.
Yeah, with a load of Portuguese guys and some estrangeiros. We spend a lot of time in our local cafe, which really helps being like part of the community. So we're part of the furniture there.
Yeah, I did a few shifts there as well, so we feel very like recognised within the village.
And while she was working shift there, I would go up there and just watch the football and drink beer. So
we go to the local gym.
Yeah. Obviously, you go to the same shops all the time, so you get friendly with the
cashiers,
the usual ladies at the till and whatnot.
Our Portuguese is getting there. Our goal this year is to do some private lessons, so we can like level up a bit more now, but we can just about hold enough of a conversation. Sometimes people just keep talking and I'm like, I've lost what you're telling me about. But yeah, no, we feel very integrated. I think that's an important part of like feeling at home. So
putting roots down.
Yeah.
We definitely feel like that now.
Yeah. So another question is, has either of our parents been here for an extended visit?
We've had 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks is the most, but all 4 of our parents have been here.
Yep.
We can't really host people on the land. We did have friends in a tent, so it's quite tricky to have people come stay, but I think they would all be quite interested in doing an extended visit. We really want to like build a tradition around the olive harvest of having like all our family coming. It's very like Portuguese, they get all the family together to do that. What happened to the little cat that showed up? George. We found a little kitten in our barn about 6 months ago. Yeah, George. And yeah, we were trying to find him a new home because we already have 3 cats and 2 of them were boys and he was a boy, so we didn't want to add more chaos. But we couldn't find him one, and he was really lovely and he stayed, and we kind of got a bit attached to him. And then we found that one of our neighbours, it was his cat, he'd run off and got lost and found our barn, and he was with us for like 6 weeks, I think, before we realised. Was it that long?
No, I don't think it was quite that long.
Maybe a month.
Yeah, maybe a month.
He went back to his proper home, which was kind of good for us, but we do miss him. He was a cool cat.
He was a cool cat.
And we'll go see him soon, actually.
Yeah.
He's now called Bit Cat.
Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Is it cold? Is the water cold?
So another question is, what are our jobs?
Don't have any. Well, we did have.
So primarily now we actually make our income from YouTube. So thank you guys all for watching our videos.
Very grateful.
Yeah, so through that and sponsorships and things on our channel, that has become our main income, which we're really grateful for, because it means we get a lot more time to spend on the project. We just have to film ourselves doing it and then edit and make videos, which we
I started to quite enjoy.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely love making these little films. It's really good fun. But before we arrived here, we didn't have a YouTube channel, and I was working, and I still do work as an illustrator. I had my own business and print shop, selling my drawings and also doing commission works and things like that.
And I used to work with my mum running a tea shop in North Wales, in Conway.
Tea and coffee
Tea and coffee,
specialist.
yeah. Specialist retailers.
And she still has that. It's completely online now, so we'll leave a link to that in the description if you're looking for some really good tea and coffee.
Highly recommend.
Yeah,
Of course.
That's why we're big fans of like tea and coffee as well. So
Yep.
yeah, but now we're YouTubers. And then the other part of the question was, when will I be taking on future commissions? Because I've currently closed my books at the moment to focus on a personal project. I've had this idea to write a kids book for about 2 years now, so I'm hoping this is going to be the year that I do it. And it's about Frankie, who's crying because she wants us to throw a stick. So I'm not really sure if I will be opening them up in 2024. Hopefully I'm going to make a book instead. So to the person that asked the question if we're going to drink a glass of wine, thank you. I'm going to go run and get one now. It has just started raining, but it'll be worth it. Here we go.
Good guy.
Don't know. Excuse me, Dodo. Can I sit here too? Scooch a little bit more. Okay.
So,
Here's guys.
yes,
This is last round of questions. Thought it'd be nice and cozy in here. It has started raining, so hopefully you can hear us over that, because it gets very loud in here, doesn't it?
Yep.
So the last few questions, some wildlife ones. Do we get wild boar on the land, and have we seen them?
We've not seen them, but we have seen evidence of them. They leave quite a distinct mark in the ground from where they stick their snout in and walk. So yeah, we've seen that.
But they're like not gone in my garden or
Yeah,
anything.
it's pretty miraculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
What else have we had? We've seen foxes.
Oh, lots of foxes. Diogo chases them.
Yeah, lots of lizards.
Snakes.
Fire salamanders, snakes.
Yeah, so one of the questions was, do the dogs or cats ever bother the fire salamanders because they are toxic?
Yeah, we've seen Albi like in their vicinity, but never actually like
Wonder.
going for them or playing with them or anything.
I wonder if the markings of them kind of puts them
Yeah.
off. Diogo's chewed on a run-over toad before, though, and that made him really ill.
Yeah. And we think he got stung by a scorpion.
Yeah.
On the foot.
Poor boy. You're all wet from being in the rain. And do we have red squirrels? In the pine forest behind us, we've seen a couple there.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear them like chewing on the pine cones, and all the pine cones have been eaten. So they're definitely there.
Yeah. Obviously, we have loads of birds. Loads and loads. If you do want me to list them, stick a comment.
No, it's really cool, the wildlife here. We really love watching
We
it
had a
all.
few eagles flying quite low the other day, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Someone asked, could you prepare a dish and leave a recipe once in a while?
Yes, no problem. Will do.
You're the chef.
Yeah.
So I make good salads and bake, and you do all the rest.
I guess we'll just show you the kind of stuff that we cook.
Yeah, a bit more like what we eat in a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have fish fingers, chips and peas, like kids.
Yeah.
You often cook pretty good meals too.
Can't be done sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. How did we meet?
We met in a wine shop that I was working in.
Cheers.
Surprise, surprise. Cheers. It's funny how things go full circle, isn't it? So yeah, I used to be the manager of a wine shop in Conway in North Wales. Vino Mondo it's called. Check them out online if you get a chance.
Yeah, very good wine shop.
Yep. And yeah, one day this beauty walked through the door and somehow I managed to bag her number. Here we are, 7 years later.
We bonded over wine. We were both doing our wine training, our WSET level 2, so kind of got chatting over that and decided to train drinking our wine together.
Mm-hmm.
The juicy one, do we plan on getting married and having kids? We get asked this a lot.
Not
Kids
at all
one.
sensitive.
To be honest, most people were really polite and said, this is a personal one, you don't have to answer it. The marriage one, we've never really felt marriage was an important thing for us personally. We already feel that we've...
Be a fun party though.
Yeah, that's your thing. But since we've bought this piece of land and the way the deeds work, we do think that it would make more sense for us to be married.
It's all in my name.
Yeah. So I'm like, come on, put a ring on
Yeah,
it. Yeah. So yeah, we probably will get married in the
One
next
day.
5 years or something. And having kids is a trickier one to answer because for a long time I was like, I never want to have children and I'm quite enjoying my child-free life. But
And I was the same.
yeah, we discussed that when we met. But now that I'm 34 and we've got to kind of make sure we've made the right decision on that, and because we kind of like love our life here and we can kind of like see kids here, it's kind of like come back up as a conversation, but we still don't really know.
Changes every day.
Yeah, we really enjoy our freedom, but we think if it happened, we'd really enjoy being parents. So yeah, we've not decided still.
We'll see.
And the final question, if you've made it this far, well done. Do we watch any other YouTubers?
No, never.
No.
Never.
What's YouTube? We watch quite a lot of YouTube. I don't think we did watch that much before we started making our own videos. We watched a few, or like you'd search for something and a video would come up. But now we like kind of subscribe and watch every week.
Hardest Geezer.
Yeah, we've been
Watch
really
him.
enjoying his.
Russ running from South
Africa.
Africa to North Africa.
Yeah, the whole
That's
length of
crazy.
Africa. It's a really like cool challenge that he's doing, and it's just kind of funny and light-hearted. We really love like Kinging It, Camp Out West, our friends Emily and John, who are doing a similar project in Wales. We really love watching what they're doing because it kind of is interesting for us to see what it would have been like if we'd stayed back in Wales and done a project like this and fighting with the rain.
Cara and Nate.
Yeah, Cara and Nate. And there's quite a lot that we watch actually. We obviously watch all the Portugal YouTubers, our friends, Indigo Escape, Ghost Town Vlogs, Cindy Vine, Project Portugal, Luke and Sarah's Off Grid Life. I feel bad if I forget anyone, but there's lots of people making videos in Portugal now, so if you are looking to move here, then there's loads of information out there now.
There's so many.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do a comprehensive list one day.
Yeah, for faves, so maybe we'll put it in the description. So yeah, and I think now that we're kind of getting more interested in like making the videos as best as we can. We enjoy watching it to kind of like get ideas of like how to edit better.
Martin Doulard.
Yeah, Life of Reza, beautiful filmmaker, Natalie Lynn.
So many.
If you have any of your favourites that you think we'd really enjoy, please do leave us a comment with them.
Or TV shows, because the last time we did this, we got some absolute crackers.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, whoever mentioned Ted Lasso, thank you so much.
The best
Absolute
thing.
Game changer.
Best thing we watched in 2023, wasn't it? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for asking us to drink wine, because it is Saturday night, so it's always a good excuse. It's tasting really good. Done a good job.
Yeah, it's a bit cold because it's been in the barn.
That box is getting quite empty.
Yeah.
We've been sampling it quite a lot.
It's the whole point in making it.
Absolutely, and we have another box to go. But if there are any questions we haven't covered, you're welcome to leave them and we can answer them in future videos as well.
Yeah. Or even in the comments.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for all of your support, for
Super
your
grateful.
amazing comments, and for being here. And we wouldn't be where we are without you guys, so thank you. Thanks to our patrons, thanks to the channel members as well.
Promise to work harder this year.
Yes, we're doing our best to make good videos, so we hope you enjoy them. And that's all for now.
Tamanya.
See you next weekend. Bye.